So Apple just released the software for the Vision Pro so that developers can start to make apps for it. And that's great for devs because that means they get to work on their projects. That's also great for us because now we get a first look at visionOS, which I didn't think we would be getting until next year. So we're booted up now. It immediately throws us in a living room. As you move your cursor around, you can see that there's some depth. Basically, the cursor will be controlled with your eyes instead of a mouse that I'm doing right now. But I really like the subtle animations here. In the bottom right hand, to simulate some things, you can do a look around animation because the apps won't move with you. They'll stay stationary. We've also got the ability to move up and down. It's weird to see app icons floating. I mean, it's going to be weird to have a headset on. Like, even just looking at this screen, I don't know. I've never really interacted with apps and icons like this before. Then you've also got the ability to pan and turn. Interesting. So if you go behind the app icons, they just turn white. And then they fade back in. All right, there's so much to dig into. First of all, I noticed this arrow at the top. So if you tap on that, this looks like it is able to adjust the volume. So you would pinch and drag left or right. You can go here to go to the home screen if you want to, because it seems like this stays present everywhere. And then you can also change your environment. Okay, so there's like a light version and then a dark version of environments. This doesn't seem to be fully implemented just yet, but I believe this ties into this section. Okay, so if you tap and just sit there, it will pop out with another menu. You can go into, whoa, a lot of different environments. You can go on the moon. Wait, what? They did not announce this in the keynote. Oh, it doesn't look like they work yet. Did they not work yet? Okay, so they don't work in the visionOS simulator. I also find it interesting that here, while you have specific places like Joshua Tree or Yosemite, you've also got some more abstract stuff. So you can just be in spring light or summer light, fall light, winter light. These are also things that we have not seen until now that are going to be more ambient environments. Just kidding. It looks like there actually are some simulated scenes built in. We can do the daytime version of the living room, which is exact same room, but there's natural light coming in. I find it interesting that Apple offers two different versions of these scenes. We can go into a kitchen environment as well. And then the last environment is the museum, which probably the most random that they include in here. Like kitchen, living room, I feel like that makes sense. Nighttime version of the museum. I mean, they look fine. I'll be honest, this is really cool to see so many months early, and I'm sure that these are going to expand into the future. I realized we never finished with the arrow up top, so that was the environment section. Oh, I didn't even notice you've got the battery percentage as well. Of course, the battery percentage is on by default for Vision Pro. It looks like we've also got Control Center here. Whoa, which is a similar design to iOS. You can turn the volume up or down. You can also turn Wi-Fi on or off by tapping. You've got Do Not Disturb. Looks like the ability to do a guest mode. What? There's a guest mode on the headset by default. So if you want to share this with someone else, you can make a passcode and then they will only be able to access certain apps. And you can even set a time limit for what they can interact with. Wow, I feel like I'm learning so much. Like I'm watching the keynote all over for the first time. Okay, last thing up here, it looks like there's an option for Notification Center, just as like a glass opaque panel that looks really good. Now, before moving on with the rest of the headset, I want to tell you about my iPhone case made by CaseCoo, who sponsored today's video. This is the slim and protective iPhone case that I've been rocking for a couple of months now because it has a feature that I've never seen before, which is the built-out MagSafe stand. It doubles as the MagSafe logo with a stronger MagSafe connection, and then it allows you to prop your phone up however you like. And then when you're done, you pop it back in, and it's the same thickness as any other iPhone case. It's very impressive, and if you guys want to get one, there's a special offer for you down below in the description. So huge thanks again to CaseCoo for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get back to the headset. I'm impressed with the software so far. Okay, I kind of skipped over this section, which is people. Looks like it'll be a dedicated section for FaceTime, and I did not know we could see this, which is the keyboard. Okay, so this is how the keyboard works. And you type like that. Can you swipe? Okay, there's no swiping built in, but each key kind of turns a pink and lights up and illuminate the keys around it when you're doing so. You've also got dictation right here. You can enable dictation if you'd like to. Okay, I gotta jump into some of these apps. Like, what does settings look like? Okay, it looks very similar to iPadOS, where you've got the split view, kind of like a 1/3, 2/3 view, and the animations are really nice. So it kind of feels like you're grabbing it and zooming in. You've got the name. There's a serial number, apparently. You've even got your version. This is what the update screen is going to look like. That's crazy to see. This update includes improvements and bug fixes for your Apple Vision. It's just insane to see that in my hand. Just like you'd expect, you'd pinch and swipe up to scroll. You can go back, update keyboard preferences. I mean, this is pretty similar to how it looks on the iPad. It's obviously just got the new design language. I'm curious if you want to move the window. Whoa. Okay, so you just drag it around and it fades in and out. If you want to put it to your left, you could just leave it there, you know, zoom in and out because it's going to stay in that physical space. You zoom back in. Man, this is weird to interact with. Like, I was not anticipating to have this experience for many months, but it's wild to like actually have some taste of spatial UI this early. Honestly, there aren't many surprises in these sections of settings. It looks like FaceTime obviously still in development. You've got accessibility on here. You've got some options for switch control. So Apple will have a number of accessibility things baked into the headset, which they didn't really talk about. There's even additional toggles you can put into Control Center. So let's try to add some of these. Then I assume if we go back up here, just like on the iPhone, yeah, you've got these new toggles baked in now. Siri and search is right here with the essential same options that you have on your iPhone. Privacy and security, of course. There's a new one, a couple here actually. Your hand structure and your movements will be a permission that you give to certain apps as well as your surroundings. Looks like there will be a built-in password manager, so you can go here, and again, you've got the keyboard that will be floating in front of you. If I type in, yeah, the typing, I'm fascinated to try out because, like, obviously clicking each letter with a mouse doesn't feel intuitive, but if you can actually put out your hands and just type, that is going to be crazy. So that's the settings app. I want to check out Freeform. This is how you collaborate in real time with other people. It says you'll be able to like draw, and it just floats here right away. You can just start drawing. Can you go outside the bounds? No. So it looks like it is constrained to just this, but you've got all the tools you're used to seeing on the iPhone. But you have to remember here, you will be drawing with your hand in space. You're not like using a pen or using your finger on a screen. This is also going to be pretty wild to experience. Nobody's really experienced this before. Okay, let's head back here and check out Safari. This is obviously going to be a big draw for the headset, is being able to browse the web essentially in 3D. You can drag Safari around here. I've got apple.com pulled up, and then from here, you can go ahead and browse Apple's website. It doesn't seem like there's anything particularly special about the Safari app here. You've got all the same stuff. You got private browsing, of course, for something that I think will be very popular with the Apple Vision Pro. What does a Google search look like in the Vision? Okay, so it just looks like Google. I don't know why I was expecting something different. I thought it would maybe be like special or something, but no, it's just Google. It's just normal Google. If you don't close out of an app, it kind of fades behind your other apps, and then if it's a light background, you'll get these darker shadows on here. The Photos app, I think, is going to be really impactful when you are viewing 3D content. This is a photo that I took earlier. I can take another one right now, drag it to the side. It will show right up here. Then you can view it. This, I think, will be pretty cool even in 2D to be able to have this headset on and physically get closer to an object and immerse yourself. Let's see what other apps we got in here. It shows more in this folder than are actually available so far. Like there's a clock app that you can't go into, but you've got calendar that we can take a look at for the first time. This looks like it's just the iPad app. In fact, I think this is actually a carbon copy of the calendar iPad app. It is. It's got no special elements. Like there's no blur here. I am worried about this being a bad experience. Like just looking at a carbon copy iPad app in spatial, don't think that's going to do great. There is an interesting option for these apps though to rotate them. Okay, so that I guess will be the signifier that it is an iPad app. You can literally go into horizontal or vertical. Now we've only been showing one app at a time, but keep in mind, a big part of this headset is going to be multitasking. So let's say we want to open up the Maps application, which also looks to be one-to-one from the iPad version. We can allow while we're using it, right? Oh, look, we're at Apple Park. That's crazy. And then we can try to view these apps at the same time. I'm trying to drag them around. Okay, so you use that to drag them. Then you can click back here, put them side by side, and then kind of navigate between them as you want. So there is some translucency introduced, and I kind of feel like I'm in the Apple ad now. This feels weird though. I think I'm just looking at 2D blocks in 3D, and that doesn't, I don't know what I'm getting here yet. But it's cool to see that you can run iPad apps on here. Finally, you've got the Files app, which is built for Vision. Again, you can tell when it's got that background, and you get to see all your files and stuff in 3D. You know, you could take a 3D model and grab it out of here and start spinning around it, interacting with it. I've got a lot of thoughts right now, which is that it feels silly to do this in 2D, which of course this is a simulator, so it's not actually gonna feel real, right? Because you're just looking at it. But there are some things now that I've actually gotten to use it. The software overall feels a bit underwhelming. It does just feel like a modified version of iOS. And again, I'm not like saying that as my final judgment. This is months early and I'm not wearing the thing. This is like if you used Mac OS on a watch, you'd be like, this is not, something's wrong here. And listen, just for some additional context here, this is what the iPhone looks like in Simulator. As you can see, the settings app is a little bit more bare. Like there's not that much going on here. And this also feels underwhelming, right? Like you're just clicking through apps and dragging things. So if you're looking at visionOS, like I said, it's a bit underwhelming, doesn't really make sense. Listen, it's gonna feel completely different when you're actually using it. I just am glad I got to play with it early because it looks really cool and very pretty, and I am ready to experience it in full immersion. Interesting video. I learned way more than I thought I would. There's a lot in here that Apple didn't talk about, it from seeing Control Center to interacting with the apps. Like I know this is just a taste, but I can picture how this is going to feel when you're in an environment where you're navigating with just your hands, which people say is seamless, even if you try to, put your hands low or hide them. There's something here. I felt something today that I didn't. Even if parts feel rough around the edges because it's 6 months ahead of release, it's still, I'm more excited today than I was yesterday. And I cannot wait to try this. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you learned something new. I know I did. Subscribe for more. I'll keep you locked and loaded on the Vision Pro all the way up till release. And of course, constantly once this thing's actually out. So I've been Sam. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.